St. Louis, the gateway to the West, is now the gateway to the best.
Swing and get up, baby! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Home
The game is over. The series is over. The wait is over.
What's happening, nerds? Carberg, Coach Neil, he recently shouted out my channel because of my little saying, and I've heard people commented on it a few times now, and I think it's kind of funny that people like it. I didn't really think too much of it when I started doing it, but anyway, really hope you like that intro. Jeff over at Fine Collector, he helped me out with that, give me feedback and things, and give me pointers, and so I think it's awesome. I love the radio. That's my preferred method to take in any game, really. And so, I got a radio clip from the St. Louis Rams, home run call by Mike Shannon, and then the call, when the Blues won the Stanley Cup. So, and then I figured, put that with a few clips from season 1 of my channel, like they do on TV shows. But anyway, so anyway, it's been a minute since I did a video. I did skip this last weekend for an Ozzie Smith weekend video, and there's a couple reasons. Like, late Sunday night, it was just late. I didn't really have a plan, and it's just like at that point in time, I'm just doing a video just to do it, whatever. And then I had a long day, long weekend. But part of the reason why that was the case was, I got to go to the Orlando Gardens show in St. Louis, and that turned out to be really awesome. And I only bought one card. I'm gonna put that in my pickups video at the end of this month, so I'll get into that then. But spent most of my time just kind of hanging out with Joe, Redneck Collector, and behind his table with his buddy John, and that's actually who I bought the card from, standing there for so long, and then a card caught my eye and super sweet, so I bought it. But aside from that, Doug was there, and I'll put a link to all these channels down below, but Jerry was there. Tom was there, KC 1967, and you'll hear more about him as this video goes on. But and then surprisingly, or at least it was a surprise to me, and Tom told me that he was there, but Chris from Missouri was there, and his buddy Tom was there. You've heard him talk about a lot, and I didn't spend too much time talking to him. I do feel bad going up to people, especially like when they're busy looking at cards and things like that. So, I just quickly just introduced myself in person to Chris, and we chit-chatted for a second, and then I just wanted to let him get back on to enjoying his show, because he drives a couple hours at least to get to that show. And then he swung by Joe's table, and we talked a little bit more there, but that was really cool. Spent more time than I had anticipated at the show, but it was just cool to get to just talk to those guys, because we comment on videos and everything, but getting to meet them in person was really neat. And so with that, that show, and then my last video with the cards from Jeff, I was like, I need to get on to doing something. And so what I did, and I got more cards in after that too, that fit into this. And what it is, if you could tell by the title of this video, is I created a Cardmunity Binder. And it's not an original idea. What was it, a couple years ago at least, Greg over at Midlife Cards was talking about how he created a binder for cards that people were sending to him. I know at one point in time, he had like a little map thing of like where cards were coming from, so that's why I intentionally sent him cards from down in Antarctica. So he would have to like figure out a crazy way to put that on his map. I haven't heard him talk about it in a long time, but anyway, that's where the idea really kind of came from. And And it was one of those things too where it's like, this is such an awesome way to keep these cards. And to expand upon my point in my last video is, all of these are awesome. It's not a value thing, a scarcity thing. None of those things. It's just it's really the thought that counts. I mean, it's one of those things where you hear people say that a lot of times, but for me, that is definitively the case, where it's the thought that counts, you know. And who knows, maybe I'm just helping people out there offloading Cardinals cards from their collections. But anyway, before I get to the binder, I went to a mall today, and holy cow, I haven't been to really malls in a long time, and man, they are so dead. Remember when we were kids and stuff, you know, like the mall was like the place to be. But anyway, I got this sweet hat, you know, St. Louis Cardinals, of course, but it's a Topps hat. Made by Mitchell and Ness, and it's got a little Topps pin on it or whatever. $10. $10. And when the lady told me that, yeah, everything on that rack is $10, I'm like, can't beat that for $10. So really kind of neat, you know, baseball card theme, ball cap. But anyway, enough talking. I'm going to change the vantage point of the camera down to the binder, and let's get into it. Alrighty, so this is actually kind of neat. I bought a card off of eBay from somebody local, and turns out I guess they set up at card shows in a town called Collinsville here in Illinois, and so that's really kind of neat. So I'm going to try to make that show, and you know, maybe it'd be one of those weird things where make another connection, oddly enough, through an eBay purchase. But let's go ahead and get to the main focus. And so a couple years ago, it was when I was in Fairfield, California. You know, I met Greg, and he gave me one of his cards, so I'll put that in here. And then I put one of Skaught's cards in here, the Martin Dihigo card, and that representative of Skaght, of course, and then also you know, Orlando at a collector's dream. So I thought that was a really cool addition to this binder. And this is like a YouTuber card page binder, you know, for the binder. But then you fast forward a little bit, and so like these are the order that I put these in was in the order that I received them. But you know, basically, like my first gift after creating a channel was Paul over Fast Breaks and Breakfast, and we were on a video on John 3D80's Kids channel. You know, the 5 cards everybody should own kind of thing. And so he sent me some cards, and so the Molina card's quite thick, so I just went ahead and put it in this pocket. But he sent me this really cool disc of Stan the Man. It's the only Playing Days Stan card I have that's not a Topps or a Bowman's card. Really, really cool. And actually, for a while after I set up my card room, I had this hanging on the wall in the frame that he sent it in, but now with this binder, I really want it in here. And then it was really cool because he sent me other cards too, you know, Shannon, and then you got Hall of Famers, you know, Gibby, Lou, Carlton, Cepeda, and oftentimes people send, you know, like notes or whatever with the cards, and so especially if they did, I make sure to keep it and I put it in here. Really, really cool. And one of the things I quickly found is fun, and it goes into the bindering, is being able to flip through the cards and everything. And so, you know, everybody sent them in like, you know, Topps loaders, card savers, and things like that. But being able to go through and just look at these cards that people took their time to send to me, and you know, these are awesome cards. We're talking about Hall of Famers, you know, obscure stuff like that Stan, autograph stuff like this red. This was from John over at JW's Dugout. This is his page. Really cool stuff. You know, and getting to flip through, you know. And then there was Jay, average vintage collector. Average vintage collector. I don't know. That guy has such a killer collection. You know what I mean? But he sent me a ton of cards. You know, some of my all-time favorites, Cardinals Hall of Famers, all this really cool stuff. You know, spanning eras. You know, amazing, amazing stuff. And then he also sent me his sheriff's department coin, and I keep that here on my desk, as you can see. But really awesome. You know, Tony Talks Cards. I didn't really, I did a piss poor job of highlighting the cards that he had sent me, but this amazing disc of Lou Brock, you know, because Lou is both a Cardinal and a Cub. Tony's a Cubs fan. Of course, an Ozzy card. I do have one card that he sent me displayed, but that's because it's the 92 Topps card, and that was my first card. A couple Yachties right here, awesome. And then, of course, from the last video with Jeff, and the way that he did it up, I made sure to keep all these cards and then put them in their own page. And then for right now, yeah, I got these in the binder. I know I saw about, you know, displaying and stuff like that, or putting this with the Yachty collection and everything, but right now I want it in this binder because of just what this binder means. So now, going back to the show on Sunday, Tom, you know, KC 1967, he had gift packages for a lot of people. Jerry showed his in his video. And so really quick, what I want to do is take this out because he's given me his business card. And so if you're ever in the St. Louis area, Tom does own a shop. And, you know, it's got the days and hours right there. It's got his contact information on there. He actually, he sets up at that Orlando Garden show, and he's got some amazing cards. I know Jerry bought some off of him this last time, and Doug has showed cards that he bought from Tom as well on his channel. And so like I said, if you're ever in the St. Louis area, look Tom up. I need to get to his shop. I haven't been able to go yet, just busy. But some of the other things that he gave me is this newspaper printout of Ozzie Smith from '86. So it was after the '85 season, which is really cool because it's got the '85 stats on there and whatnot. This 1980 All-Star Game ballot. Now, Ozzie didn't make the All-Star team that year. However, it was the first year in which he won the Gold Glove. And one of the things that I thought was funny is, remember going to the ballpark and they would have these ballots in which you would have to punch them out. And, you know, that's how people voted back in the day. But now, of course, the internet has taken it over. But if you notice the National League, whoever punched this out, punched out all the Cardinals, which is exactly how I would have voted. But a really cool red man of Enos Country Slaughter. And then this ticket from 2009, and that's when the All-Star Game was in St. Louis. And so the tickets would have different pictures on them and everything. A bunch of the greats, you know, previous All-Stars in Cardinals history. And this one happens to have Red Shandies on it. And he knows I'm a big fan of red, you know, because, and I didn't highlight this, but this picture right here, I'm not exactly sure what this is. You know, if it might be a team issue or something, but really cool. And then there was a few more cards. This Leaf, Perez, Stan the Man. This Dizzy Dean, if an Upper Deck card, celebrating his 1934 season, and I believe this card came out in the 90s. And then you might be wondering, why is there a Chicago Blackhawks card in here? Anyway, that's Darren Pang. If you watch hockey at all, you might know of him. He does a lot of the color commentary for the postseason games, like nationally televised stuff. But for several years, he was the color commentator for the Blues in the regular season. And his saying was, "Holy jumping." Anytime something exciting would happen. But awesome announcer. And so that was actually really cool to see. So Tom, finally get a chance to show the gifts that you gave me. That was really awesome. So thank you very much. Next, my buddy over at Rob, Rob at Bucks and Six. You've got to check out his channel if you haven't already. And I'll probably talk about him again after I'm done going through the binder. But anyway, once again, he sent a note. These kind of were with the stacks of cards, but this really cool TCMA, Stan the Man, oversized card. But what's awesome, look at the picture on this, and there's there's a border, but there's no noise on it. It's just Stan and his stance. And I don't know if Rob got to watch my video where I went to Bush and did the VR for my favorite batting stances. But Stan the Man was one of them, and got to talk about it in front of the Stan statue. But really awesome. I'm not a big post playing days collector, but they do some really great stuff in this sweet write up. All of his amazing stats. That's just a sweet card. Love the image on it. And then he sent some more cards. These are really cool. So this Legends of the Game, which of course Ozzy is. And this is actually a numbered card out of 299. So that's just awesome. I actually really like the design of this card. And then some other cards, he was just like, yeah, you probably already have these. And Rob, yes, I do. But these cards are awesome. Like this one, way better condition than the one that's in my binder. But actually, that's the same for this one too. But really cool stuff. Love the Ozzy cards. And it's when people send me these gifts like Rob did, I'm very happy to know that I branded myself, if that's what you want to call it, as a St. Louis guy and an Ozzie Smith guy. So that's just really awesome. And like I said, these pages right here are my from Rob, and it's really cool getting to connect with him. He and I message back and forth quite a bit now, and that's been really awesome to do. And I know Shane over at Shoebox Legends, I guess him and Rob had a relationship predating Rob's channel, and I guess Shane had pushed him to get on. And so thank you, Shane, for doing that, because Rob's awesome, his channel's awesome, and then this was awesome too, and then he's talked about hockey more so than myself. He's a Canucks fan, and the Canucks and the Blues have played in the playoffs I think 3 times in my lifetime, and the Blues have lost them all. But look at that, Jake Neighbors, who's turned out to be quite a good player. But look at that card, and it's autographed. That's sick right there. Couple Brett Hull cards. I remember having these when I was a kid, and of course I don't know what happened to them. But there was 3 years where Brett Hull has scored 70 or more goals, and it's only like him and Wayne Gretzky that have done that, I believe. But these were from those years. Awesome stuff. Rob and I were talking too. It's like it's hockey's kind of taken a back burner, and I want to do more hockey on this channel. It's just unfortunate that hockey within my collection is not so much cards, it's other stuff that I showed on my card room video. And then he sent some Stadium Club cards. So this really cool image of Stan, more of like a candid photo, not from the ballpark. So it's like stuff that it makes you wonder, where were these photos at, and why couldn't they put stuff like this on baseball cards back in the day? I don't know. And then, but there's more. Some more post-playing days modern, ultra-modern cards of Legends. So you got 2 of Rogers Hornsby right here. This top's chrome, and I don't know the years and whatnot of some of these, but you know, it mirrors the 54 set, so that's really sick right there. And then once again, a Stadium Club card of Rogers Hornsby. Jimmy Ballgame, really cool card right there. And I mean, these things shine. It's quite crazy how these are considered like base cards now, but back in the mid to late 90s, these were highly sought after kind of cards, you know. Stars of the MLB, Yadier Molina. I believe this is 2022, you know, his last year. Albert Pujols, a Bowman card, again, his last year when he came back to St. Louis. And these ones are really cool. 1987 Classic. Willie McGee, Vince Coleman. I love these because, you know, they were huge players for the Cardinals. Willie's an all-time favorite. But this was a pennant year for the Cardinals. And I always think it's kind of neat having cards from significant years. And then this Skybox EX Brian Jordan. And he had a few years with the Cardinals that were just so good. And he was actually on the Cardinals Hall of Fame ballot last year. But once again, you know, this was a base card. You know, it's got the acetate around the player. You know, you had some like die cutting kind of going on, refractoring. But it was like what the essential credentials is the one that everybody goes for. But these were some awesome cards. Man, the 90s were awesome. But yeah, thank you, Rob. This is so awesome to have something from you and your channel in this Cardmunity Binder. You know, and it's not just people that make videos, it's people who support our channels, you know, because we take the time out to make this stuff, and you know, it's really cool that, you know, people want to check you out and, you know, watch your stuff, interact with you. And, you know, and in this case, I actually got to meet him. I mean, that's pretty dang sweet. You know, and once again, if you're in the St. Louis area, but yeah, Tom, Rob, thank you very much. These are awesome, and I absolutely love this binder. You know, getting to see cards and the thought and that went behind all of these, the notes that came with them. So awesome to flip through. This is a really fun binder, and you know, it's awesome that, you know, like Greg, because I don't know if without him talking about his, if I would have done this, but absolutely awesome. I hope you liked looking at this, and I'm gonna bring the camera back up for, I don't know, some closing thoughts. So bear with me. Alrighty, guys. So once again, this was a lot of fun. Was able to put the finishing touches on it tonight, and I was wanting to do this video last night, but luckily I wasn't able to because that package from Rob came in today. So that was really sweet. Once again, really want to shout out Rob and his channel at Bucks and Six. Big time Brewers fan, Canucks fan, and he's just showing some awesome stuff. Like his, you know, his last video, or not last video, one before that, where, you know, he has like a 1980 Topps display that he did, and, you know, he's collecting like all the Brewers cards autographed, or trying to, you know. So you want to watch some fun stuff, I mean, just go check out Rob. And then I also want to shout out another channel, and I know it's towards the end of this video and most people kind of click out, but Vincent to Flood for the win, or Pinson to Flood for the win. Sorry, man. Anyway, before recording this video, and the guy, he has awesome videos, you know, and the way he thinks about cards and just comes up with just awesome ideas to talk about cards and show cards and everything on his channel. But absolutely love his last video, because, you know, we see like player runs from like the golden era, you know, the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s and whatnot. but he did a player run from 1992 Fleer Ultra, and that was so awesome to see. I love that set. So, Fleer Ultra is, man, such a great, just year after year they were coming out with great cards. So that was really cool. I wanted to make sure I took the time out to shout out his channel. Hopefully y'all have stuck around this long, and this is how I'm nerding out. Thanks to many of you guys here in the Cardmunity, and you nerd your own way.